I got this down to a science. Yeah, the mad chemist. Days of side dressing now. Got most of our big corn gone over, and but we're going to keep going. Smaller corn is more than big enough, so we'll get loaded up here this morning. That's making her dance.
Making a little nauseous, huh?
That's good. We finished all of our big corn yesterday and got started on the smaller corn. Really, actually, the small corn is, for me, is a really nice size to run. A lot of it can handle being ran over. Sometimes can recover. But holy cow, look at all the water hemp we've already got coming in, and this was sprayed with the residual early this spring. So Jared got started yesterday posting corn, so hopefully we can get that taken care of. So far on this precision upgrade that we did on the applicator this winter, very pleased with it. Row-to-row control. I now know what each row's putting on, and not just a bunch of float balls back there telling me that liquid's flowing. So a lot more confidence in what we're doing. As you can see on the precision planning on their 2020 monitor, this is basically all 25 knives. That's pretty accurate row to row. That's not bad at all. Literally running 51.9 to 52.2, shooting for 52. So significantly better than what we ran previously. So yeah, pretty happy right now.
Let's get to it this morning. Dad's already up there. I think you guys have heard from him this morning. He's already running. But unfortunately, I had to wait on this weather. You can see it's still plenty cloudy, even kind of hazy over in that direction. And that just, I need sun. I need warmth. I don't need haze. That's not the best thing for killing water hemp. But that is what we're going to deal with, hopefully, for the rest of the day. It's a lot clearer and no more fog. So we loaded, Dustin got over here early. We loaded around 7:30. It's now 9 o'clock. So we've waited long enough. Time to get busy. There's the sun. Come on, girl. I need you out today. I need these weeds soaking up every bit of chemical so that we can get a good kill on them. But as you guys can tell, we are finally posting our corn. For us, this is some of our bigger corn. And it's not really big yet, but the degree extra that I'm spraying, which is our residual, Well, it's only on label for corn until 11 inches tall, and we're probably 2/3 of the way there. So we're getting towards the later part of being able to post this corn. But that's okay, because I've only got a couple hundred acres of what I'm considering the bigger corn left, and then we get to our next stage of corn, which is still a lot smaller. So I've been so worried about getting my auto path set up here. Watch, I'll show you. Set path. So that's just so cool, because like that's every single line that the planner made with every single row. It's all mapped out. I'm running down it. It makes it really nice. But a couple of the contours on the end rows I've noticed aren't perfect. Well, dummy me, I totally forgot I have row sense. So I've got a camera right there that basically keeps my sprayer tire in the center of my 2 corn rows, which is just icing on the cake. So that green light there means I'm using my row sense. So see how we're getting some squigglies coming up? Let's see how this, see, it's staying right in the corn rows. Look at that. If you look in the mirror behind me, I don't know how well you guys can tell, but my track is right in the middle. I didn't run over any corn through those squigglies. Sometimes technology is great, guys, especially when it works.
So as I'm sitting here going back and forth, kind of curious, this really got nothing to do with farming, but trying to think of some long weekend trips. Sometimes it's hard to get away for a week, but maybe a Friday, Saturday, Sunday you can get away. 2 places I'd like to go, or I think I would, if they're worth going to, is Mansfield, Ohio, to the Ohio State Reformatory, where they filmed Shawshank Redemption, which is probably my #1 film on my list. Would really like to see that. Just, I think that'd be really cool. And then the other place would be is it Dyersville or Dyersfield, Iowa, where they filmed Field of Dreams, which is top 10, probably top 15 on my film list. I think, a guy can take out, both directions. You could do a lot of road farming on the way out and the way back, and see some pretty cool sights while you're there. So kind of curious if anybody's been either place, or if there's any other suggestions for a long weekend trip from West Central Indiana.
It is really nice having that guy tend to me. Makes my fill up so much faster and just increases my productivity that much more. Can't forget that it's shot at Dawn dish soap. Woo! Keeps my tank clean. Just kidding, it lubricates my nozzles. Well, that's all I have to do. Dustin's got everything else ready, and he just starts pumping it in. but this always makes me cringe kind of doing this turnaround because, well, you always end up running over more corn there than you like, but unfortunately there's not much you can do about that. So let's find our correct AB line here. That one right there. Oh, come on. Go nice and slow, let it find it. That's the one thing about going from 10 to 15 gallon an acre. It's a lot easier to see my spray pattern. Not to mention that I've had to up my pressure to about 60 psi, and I'm getting my duty cycle for my exact apply right around that 75%. So there's a few things different when it comes to post-spraying versus the burn down that we did earlier in the year. The main thing being obviously different chemicals, but my rate per acre goes up from 10 gallons pre to 15 gallons per acre post. And I do that mainly because of coverage. I get a lot better coverage when I'm spraying a higher rate. You got to start spraying. You can't just take off. And it doesn't spray very well when your master's off. So let's try this again. Alright, back into my previous coverage. Kick my master back on. There we go, that's better. So as I was saying, more coverage gives you a better potential for better control of the weeds. You get more chemical on the weeds, they tend to die better. It's just a simple fact. Like always, I'm running contact for all of those weeds, and I'm also running a residual in order to keep new weeds from coming up, and hopefully that will last until the corn canopies, and then when things are shaded out, basically they keep themselves weed free as long as we did our job well enough this time of year. And I'll drop a little knowledge for you guys. So the contact killer that I am spraying is Incinerate, which that active is mesotrione. Means nothing to most of you, but the way it kills the weeds, and I may get this a little off, but layman's terms, it basically bleaches the weeds. It gets rid of all the chlorophyll or kills it or somehow, but without chlorophyll, plants can't do photosynthesis. They can't create energy for themselves. Guess what? They die.
We'll spin around here and fill up again. Knives are surprisingly good at picking up trash. Of course, these stupid plastic bags that float everywhere.
But I'm having one problem. Right there. This number, it reaches 0 way too fast for me. I did like it better when I was running 10 gallon to the acre because that means 100 acres on a fill. When I go to 15, I'm down to like 66. Doesn't sound like much, but that's 33% less acres on each fill. Makes it feel like I am filling all the time. But that's what I got this guy for. He makes it about as quick as possible. You about got this down to a science. Yeah, the mad chemist. It is satisfying.
It is.
It is so satisfying.
Once you can like get a rhythm and you just know, it's so nice.
Yep, so first we put in the degree. That's our residual. It's a nasty clay based. And then now he's putting in the incinerate. That's what I was talking about. And then we got our good old Roundup. Stuff's not good for much anymore other than killing grass. At least it's turned out to be a nice day. Dude, holy cow. A little different than it was this morning.
Absolutely beautiful.
I'll take it.
Definitely way too warm for a long sleeve shirt, I know that.
Yeah, I had a sweatshirt on this morning. I took that off real quick.
Yeah.
But this will keep the weeds nice and active. Soak up that chemical really fast. Bye-bye. Yep. All right, kick our pump on so that starts mixing, making sure it's all that chemical spread out. Let Dustin do the dirty work. I'll keep my hands clean. Just kidding. This is just water. Turn my recirc back on so that I'll cycle through the boom. All right, back to spraying for me. He's gonna head to the next field and he'll get that next load ready for me. Well, we finally made it to what I'm calling the small corn. It was planted, I think we had about a 7-8 day window there where we didn't get anything planted. So this is about a week or so behind our bigger stuff. But I'm gonna keep trucking right through it. They're talking really warm weather next week with rain. So the rain's gonna keep me out, but the warm weather and the moisture are gonna make this corn take off. And hang on, gotta turn. So if I choose to quit spraying right now to let this corn get a little bigger, in an ideal world, that's perfectly fine. But if we turn off warm and wet, this thing could get out of control before I can get back in here, and then we're off label, weeds are huge, and it's just, I'm not willing to take that chance. So things are gonna grow fast enough that I believe the residual will last until the corn canopies. So we're just gonna keep on spraying. All right, I got a nozzle knot spraying the way I like. And what I'm spraying, I guarantee I know what it is. Yep, look at that. This clay-based stuff. My little mini nozzle filters are starting to plug up already. So I have a feeling these are gonna have to be cleaned before I'm done. But this is the only one I've noticed issues with. I'll go ahead and clean it the best I can, and then I'll double check it and make sure that was my issue. That looks a little better. But no wonder stuff gets caught in it. Look how tiny this mesh is. Go ahead and slap that back on, make sure my nozzle's facing the right direction, pointing forward. That is correct. And hopefully that's all our issue was. managed to get that field done with no issues on wind and no more issues on my nozzles. So that was this simple issue and simple fix. But it is definitely getting windy enough that my next few fields are a little less protected, let's put it that way. And not to mention I'm catching Dad. And I like to keep the side dress applicator ahead of the sprayer. Because once we spray and get that residual down, if we don't have to disturb the soil, that's the way we like to keep it. May have seemed like a boring day to you, but we like those every now and then because that means it was a productive day. I think I got close to 500 acres sprayed, which nowhere near the most I've sprayed in a day, but being post 500 acres of corn sprayed in a day, I'll take that any day. Dad, I think he's pushing close to 300 acres of corn side dressed today, which is a really good day for him. But in case you guys were wondering, that little goldfish you have in a little bowl there on your counter, they don't even have stomachs, which is why they need fed so often, because they have to eat frequently because they can't store the food they eat. It goes right through them. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that fact. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.